TFA fam, good to be with you guys. Thank you for joining us. Welcome into the Week 13 show, a.k.a. the Javonte Williams Showcase Week, which also kind of sucks because going up against this KC defense could be a little rough. But hey, we should get a full onslaught of all the Javonte Williams that we can handle. Kev, good to see you. I feel like we haven't talked for a while. Feels like it's been a while for some reason. I don't know why. It feels like I've had an extended absence.
I don't know why.
It's been since Tuesday.
I know. It's been a long week.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
But I am happy. I'm not. I don't ever want to see anybody hurt, of course. But hey, Melvin Gordon took one for the team. And we get fully unleashed Javonte Williams this week. So that's always a good thing.
We got a fully unleashed Walito coming through with that $10 super holler already. Right off the top. Right off the top ropes. Walito coming through. We appreciate all you guys. Let's get into some of these start-sit questions. If you have any, go ahead and start plugging them in to the end of the chat here. We'll get to all of these throughout the however long it takes. 2.5 hours. We are here for you guys. Got Ron rocking with us. Got Justin rocking with us. Justin does have the first question here. Wants to know which Devonta we going Smitty or Freeman at the flex in full PPR.
I'm going to go Devonta Smith. We were talking last night on the DFS show, and it's kind of funny that we were talking about. We kind of hoped that Gardner Minshew plays, and not
Hurts.
Yeah, Hurts. Mainly because Hurts runs so damn much that I think it does affect the upside of the pass catchers in that offense. So in that game too, if the Jets are able to get, or the only way, unless the Jets are able to keep pace. If the Eagles can get a lead early and just run the football, that's what they're going to do. So it is pretty close, but I still think it's an excellent spot for Devonta Smith.
Yeah, I'm going to roll with the Slim Reaper as well, but this is way closer than what it should be. I do like the spot that he's in. Freeman's still splitting time. With Latavius, with Lamar. I would hope that the Steelers' run defense has a better showing than what they did last week. Justin, this is close, but I'm also going to go Devonta Smith here. And who knows, maybe the fact that Hurts is banged up, maybe that'll make them rely less on the run, especially seems like we're going to have, we have no Jordan Howard, and we might not have Boston Scott either. I can't imagine that the Eagles, with a banged up Miles Sanders, are going to want to run him 25 times this game. So I'm going to go Smith there. But like I said, closer than what it should be. So we got Jamal Williams, Higgins, or Sanders at the flex.
If Boston Scott gets ruled out, I'm going to go Miles Sanders.
I think I prefer Sanders here either way, honestly. Because Jamal Williams is still going to be splitting touches as well, right? I don't think Detroit is all of a sudden just going to give Jamal Williams 90% of the touches.
No, they have some other running backs there that they'll mix in. Jamar Jefferson is one. And then the other kid that I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
Godwin Ikabuke.
Yeah, he's the other one. So I still is a good spot against the Vikings run defense, who's been absolutely horrific this year. But I just think this is a good spot for Miles Sanders. One of the best matchups you're going to get.
Yeah.
And so, like I said, I'm rocking with Miles again.
Yep. Crip rocking with us. Full PPR. Mooney, Pittman, Sanders.
I'm going to go Michael Pittman here.
I'm going to go Miles Sanders. I just think we could see a scenario where they get ahead. You know what I mean? And, Pittman's been a little disappointing the past couple of weeks as well. You know what I mean? So I think we could see – I think it's more likely we see Wentz come out and have 23 pass attempts than what we saw that one really weird game against the Jets where they just kept coming out and slinging it as if they were still trying to win style points for the college football playoffs. Like that game was odd to me, their game plan coming in against the Jets. But I'm gonna rock with Sanders here. I do like Pittman, but I don't think that there's, like I said, even if Boston Scott plays, Sanders is still gonna see more touches than Pittman will in that game. Yeah, if you're on the narrative street, T.Y. Hilton does have that thing with Houston.
It's like clockwork every time. He just smashes Houston every time.
Yeah, in his career, I think 18 games or something like that against Houston, averages like 96 yards per game and 0.6 touchdowns, I believe.
Yeah, he crushes them.
Kicker question. Hey, we normally get a couple. Getting this one early. This one again from Justin. Which kicker have Boswell but can pick up Evan McPherson?
I'm going to go McPherson. I always just lean towards the one that I think is a higher probability of a shootout or high points or high scoring. And I think this is definitely it. And so the Cincinnati and Chargers game is one of my favorite games this weekend. So,
yeah, it's fine. That's Philly or the Rams D.
I'll go Rams.
Yeah, I think we've gotten this one a couple of times in the Discord this week. This seems to be a popular defensive conundrum. I'm also going to go the Rams. Do like that matchup. Obviously, hard not to like that for Philly. But it's going to be the Rams there for me. And obviously the other interesting defense for this week is Miami. But not that was part of this question, but I think it's another one we're going to get a bunch of questions on today and on Sunday. Owen wants to know, what do we think about Zeke and DK rest of season?
I don't know what the Cowboys are doing with Zeke at this point. He's either dust or he has a serious injury that he's just playing through. And because he has just looked awful, really, most of the year, at least since probably week 5 or 6, for sure. And Tony Pollard just continues to outproduce him on fewer touches. And I don't really get it. And I've already said with Zeke that I feel like that I've been saying this for weeks, that he is at best a low-end RB1. Yeah. And the longer this holds out, that this happens, I mean, I think you're getting closer and closer to where if they're going to keep running him out there, you're going to see more and more of Tony Pollard, because I don't know how you can't. Tony Pollard, and it's not even close that he looks like the better running back right now. And so I know the only positive for Zeke right now is his pass protection, but that's about it. But regardless, to me, like where they stand, it would be pretty tough for them not to make the playoffs at this point. And so I don't know why you wouldn't just put Zeke on the short-term IR, let him sit for 3 weeks, get right. He would still be back by like week 17, get him a couple of weeks before the playoffs start, and then, move from there. Because it just doesn't make any sense to continue to roll him out there whenever you have something like Tony Pollard, who clearly looks like the better running back than he does. So I would view him, if nothing else happens and he plays the rest of the year, I think he's at best a low-end RB1, possibly more of a RB2 moving forward, which is not a spot where you want to be, especially since you drafted him probably in the top 5, top 6,
yeah.
But that's just kind of where he's at. And then DK Metcalf, we just need this offense to get back on track, and we kind of saw it a little bit against Washington, but it was odd that they barely targeted DK Metcalf in that game. But
not till the second half.
I wouldn't expect that to be a thing moving forward. And DK Metcalf, at least just for this week, it's a fantastic matchup. He's going to see the majority of old-ass Josh Norman, and Josh Norman has been terrible this year, like you might suspect. So I think DK's fine. I think he may not be like he's not a locked-in wide receiver 1 right now, but he's still a pretty solid wide receiver 2, in my opinion, right now.
Yeah. Boom bust guy instead of the steady production that we were kind of banking on last year. Mr. Wong, here's the defense. Sat Dallas when I picked up Miami. Oof. Mooney or Claypool in the flex?
I'm going to go Mooney. It's hard to, Darnell Mooney could see another 15 targets in this game. Like, he is this offense right now. And we have Kyler Murray should be back in this game. So they're going to have to score some points. And so I can't sit Darnell Mooney at all. Like he is a strong wide receiver 2 this week. And I don't think Claypool's that.
If the Ravens defense ends up being as banged up as they are right now, like if some of these guys end up being out, you're looking at Anthony Everett, questionable. Marlon Humphrey is questionable. Jimmy Smith, questionable. Tavon Young, questionable. Like, basically their entire secondary is questionable right now. So if some of those guys end up being out, I'm going to go Claypool here, just because I think we could see more of a back and forth. Obviously, Mooney has the much clearer path to double-digit targets, like almost locked in, guaranteed at this point. But I don't think Claypool is going to be that far off either. And if all these guys are, out, banged up, whatever the case may be, I think I would lean Claypool here. Because if we look at the Bears' implied point total is 17.75 right now. The Steelers aren't that much better at 19.75, but they're at least a little bit higher. I don't mind either of them. I wouldn't, Mr. Wong, I wouldn't blame you for going Mooney here if that's if you want to take Kev's side, but I think I kind of like Claypool, and I have never been a Claypool kind of guy, which kind of scares me. RC Cola, answering questions, asking questions. TFA fam coming through. Pick 2.5 PPR. Barkley, Javonte, Jamal.
First 2, Saquon and Javonte. Where do you have Javonte now with the Melvin Gordon news? Like, where would you rank? Where would you put him in your rankings?
Mid RB2.
I have him at 13.
Yeah, I don't mind it.
He's gonna get all the work. Mike Boone's gonna be the number 2 running back in this offense. He's gonna see probably a lot of pass catching work as well. I think you could probably bet that he'll probably score a touchdown. Feel pretty good about that. The Chiefs' defense has been better, and that is no doubt. But it's hard to sit somebody with this kind of touch upside And so I would go with the first two.
Yeah, I would not be able to forgive myself holding on to Javonte Williams all year for a scenario just like this, only to start Jamal Williams. Like I love Jamal Williams. Like as a player, I think he's one of the funniest dudes in the league. But this is what you've been waiting for all year long if you've been holding Javonte. So I got to go the first two, even though Jamal Williams, although the Vikings are going to get back Pierce and Dalvin Tomlinson in this game, which will obviously be a big help to that defensive line. So, and then some of their linebackers are questionable again, but having those two coming back on the defensive line should help out. So I'm gonna go the first two there as well. You got something you were gonna
no,
say?
I was just seeing some of the comments. I saw Ronald down below said actually Javonte is definitely starting. It's between Jamal and Barkley. I don't think that it's between those two, but
New Life. Guys, thanks for doing the show. New Life, thank you for joining us. Half PPR, Hollywood, Van Jeff, Jalen.
It's Jalen Waddle, but Van Jeff. So if because Odell now has a hip injury, and if he doesn't play this week, I mean Van Jefferson is really hard not to want to just smash into every lineup if you got him, because he becomes now the locked in wide receiver 2 in this offense.
Yeah.
And so, but I can't sit Jalen Waddle. Jalen Waddle has been so good. And so I'm not sitting Jalen Waddle. Like he's a lock for me.
Yeah. And it seems like and Adoree Jackson is out for the Giants.
And I don't know. I saw that J Mike was in here, and I don't know if he still is in here, but if he is, that is one of my misses this year that I will definitely admit to, was not being high on Jalen Waddle. I thought he was going to be kind of very much like
Henry Ruggs,
and I thought that was going to be his path. I was definitely wrong, and so I am a firm believer in calling out your mistakes and not trying to just gloss over them, because I think it just makes you better and being more transparent on things. And so Jalen Waddle was definitely one of my misses for sure. If J Mike's still in here, because we've went back and forth a little bit on this one, and so I believe he was in here one time, and I think I called him like a complete bust and everything, and I was wrong. So
that sounds about right. But J Mike, hope you are still rocking with us. Appreciate you coming through. I've said this before, and I stand by it. J Mike, I really think that you should sell like your voice doing like self-affirmations for people. Like hearing this message in your voice, like I already feel I got a boost. I already feel uplifted. Like J Mike, you definitely need to do that. Like
I've always said that he's like the Morgan Freeman of the fantasy football community. He just has that like soothing, like just voice, makes you feel all safe. That's yes, 100%.
J Mike, the absolute 101.
We need to get J Mike on over the offseason when we start doing some of this rookie stuff. Try to get him on for one of our shows.
Yeah,
when we start getting into the prospect talk.
Absolutely. I feel like we say these things all the time too, and then we just always forget about it. But we do need to make it happen. Bateman over DK.
No.
Yeah, I can't do that. I get why you're asking the question, Owen, but I can't do that. Still got to rock with DK. They got to get that together. Although this supposed to have a good matchup last week. I can't do it, but I know why you're asking the question. Glock guy, I have a very important question for you. What has Max Borgi been doing this year? I haven't been able to keep up with any college football. I have him chilling on on a dynasty team on my taxi squad. So I need to know what Borgie's been doing. His fall off from the Devi Grace has been one where he's plummeted. Devonta, Elijah. We need one here for New Life and a half PPR.
New Life. We can only start one of these? Oh, because between Javonte and Elijah, I love both of them.
This one's going to be Elijah Mitchell for me.
Yeah, New Life. Who else? What was the other? Did he already ask another question? Wide receiver. Yeah, New Life. Who else are you starting on this team? Just curiosity.
Yeah. We'd really like to get Javonte in there as well, but if it's just one, it's Elijah Mitchell for me. Mark, if Henderson decides to play, do I play him or Sony? So I think Henderson got in a limited practice today, I believe, after being DMP the 2 practices earlier this week.
I would say you probably go Henderson, but is there any other options? Because I don't know how I'd feel about it, because it feels so risky to play him in this situation if he does play, because he could get pulled at any time. But there is the possibility that Sony Michel is more involved. I don't know if I'd feel great about either one of them, to be honest with you. But the fact that he was able to get in limited participation on Friday speaks well to probably where he stands. And I would say that Henderson probably will play, but very well could be limited, because you're also talking about them playing the Jaguars too.
Right.
And so, they could smash the Jaguars quickly and then just pull Darrell Henderson out of the game. But we can't count on that either. So it's a tough spot. If I had to play one, I'm playing Henderson.
Yeah, if he plays, this is also a coaching staff that at the beginning of the year talked about the importance of keeping him healthy. So if he has that quad strain and he plays, you gotta feel okay about his ability to make it through the game. I don't think they would throw him out there if he weren't as close to 100% as possible, which no player in the NFL is 100% at this time of the year. But if they're playing him, I think you have to feel as confident as you can in it. So I'm going to go Henderson there as well. Then we got Alexis just coming through, just coming in for support, just coming to hang. It's coming to kick it with the TFA crew on this fine Friday evening. And if you are new to the channel, please hit us with a sub and a like if you would be so kind. It is the season of giving. That's all we want. You don't even need to wrap it. We don't need a gift receipt. Just hit that sub button. We really would appreciate it. Thomas back rocking with us. Hawk or Freiermuth at tight end, half PPR?
I'm going to go Hawkinson.
Man. This is closer than it should be. Man. Thomas, I agree with what you're saying with Barr and Hendricks being out. And no Swift. Man. Hawkinson has been such a disappointment, especially from the beginning of the season.
Well, the whole offense.
Well,
that's pretty big. But Minnesota has been. Their secondary is terrible. I think on our DFS show last night, Matt brought this up, that the Vikings are the only secondary in the league that all of their entire secondary is graded in the 90th quarterback and below. They don't have a corner that's ranked higher than 90th.
Wow.
which is embarrassingly bad. Like, I don't know how you can be that bad, but yes. So they're I think this is a good spot for Hawkinson. So I slightly prefer Hawkinson. Freiermuth does. I would say the matchup, which is strictly based on matchup, versus tight ends. The Ravens have not been great. They allow the 6th most fantasy points to tight ends. So there is definitely that in Freiermuth's favor. So I think it's really close. I just slightly lean towards Hawkinson.
Yeah, I agree. But it's way closer than what it should be. Gluck guy. Tough pick this week. Need to fill wide receiver 2 in a flex spot. Ayuk, D-Hop, Javonte, Monty. Looks like Gluck guy is leaning toward Ayuk and Javonte. So obviously D-Hop and Kyler Murray are game time decisions. And Cliff Kingsbury has also come out and said that they're going to be completely and utterly cautious with both of them, especially given their record and where they're sitting right now in the division. So
I'd probably lean with what you got and go Hawkins or Ayuk and Javonte here. I mean, with no Deebo Samuel, Ayuk is going to see so many targets, and he's going to be much like we saw at the end of last year. He's already been coming on as of late anyway. And now without Deebo, he is going to be. I mean, it's him and Jawan Jennings. I mean, as the other wide receiver, and Kittle obviously. But so yeah, I can't sit Ayuk, and I'm not sitting Javonte.
It's definitely Ayuk.
It's tough with Hopkins, and the thing that people need to remember too with Hopkins, and while he carries the name that he has, and I'm not necessarily saying he's a bad player, but even whenever he was healthy and he was playing. He was only seeing an 18% target share in that offense.
Yeah.
There's so many weapons there in that offense that they utilize that it kind of limits his ceiling a little bit. And he was only wide receiver 16 in terms of fantasy points per game. And so which isn't bad. Don't get me wrong, but he hasn't been the elite guy that we're so accustomed to seeing. Outside of really week 1 where he hauled in 2 touchdowns. So,
yeah. It's definitely Ayuk for me, and then I'm going back and forth with Javonte and Monty.
So with Montgomery, I'm fine if I'm wrong on this, but David Montgomery, really this offense, but David Montgomery, if he's not involved in the passing game, he's not a great option. And Arizona has been elite against running backs this year. They've only allowed 4 rushing touchdowns on the season, and they are in the bottom 5 of fantasy points allowed to running backs this year. David Montgomery is just not being utilized as a pass catcher like he was last year. And that's what made him so enticing at that late run that he had at the end of the year where he really exploded. This year, he's just not getting that. I mean, he's seeing very few targets, 2 targets, 1 target, and 3 targets. It's coming back from injury. And if he's not going to see this sort of usage, he's not going to see, and some of these games they were trailing, like against Pittsburgh, they were trailing the entire game and had to play catch up in that game. And so, but he's still not being utilized as a pass catcher. And so if he's not going to be utilized as a pass catcher, this is already not a great matchup. No thanks on David Montgomery this week, especially if Kyler Murray plays, because I just feel like that makes the offense better. And until they start utilizing him as a pass catcher, I really don't want any unless it's just an absolute smash matchup, which he does have some really good matchups coming up, but this isn't one of them. And so if I have Javonte Williams, who I know and feel pretty confident in, is going to see probably 70% of the opportunities in this backfield, and we're already talking about one of the most efficient running backs in the league this year. And now you're giving him a full workload without Melvin Gordon back there. Yeah, I can't play David Montgomery over him. If you look at the Bears' remaining schedule, they get the Packers, the Vikings, the Seahawks, and the Giants. So past this, I think you feel pretty good. The Packers' run D hasn't been great this year. The Vikings, we already know, is absolutely dreadful. Their run defense. The Seahawks' run defense has been bad, and so is the Giants. So past this game, there's a lot of really good matchups for David Montgomery, but this ain't it.
You got me. You sold me. I'm gonna go Ayuk and Javonte as well. Running through cement there from Ron. Lupe joining us again. Mooney or Bourne? I'm going Mooney here. I feel like it's really hard to trust anybody in that secondary for in that receiving core for the Patriots.
It's going to really depend on what they do with their corners, because obviously we know that Tre'Davious White is out, so that is a big blow to that secondary.
Yeah,
but Tyron Johnson has been excellent this year. He plays 89% of the snaps from the slot, where you have Kendrick Bourne plays 40%. So that's he's going to see a lot of him. And then he's also going to see Levi Wallace as well, probably the second most in that game. And Levi Wallace has been – he's allowed a 56% completion percentage on the year and only a 71.3 passer rating. So it's not really – so he's been actually really pretty solid. So the two matchups he's got to get isn't great in this game. And so – I would prefer to play Darnell Mooney, especially with like I've already said, the targets are going to be there. He's been the alpha in this offense. I can't say the same for Kendrick Bourne. I feel like he could be a Kendrick Bourne, Nelson Aguilar, Jacoby Myers. There's so many more. Yeah. They just kind of spread the ball around a little bit more. Darnell Mooney's a lock.
Mooney for me as well. Mark, hopefully you were listening to this as Kev was just talking about this exact thing. Just a couple of minutes ago. But if you missed it, drop it in the chat, and then I'll have Kev go on his little diatribe again. But not the pass catching involvement is not there in PPR leagues. William E., would you use the Jags defense for the playoffs? Woo!
Their schedule's actually not bad. I think they get the Giants or the Jets and the Texans. But I think there's. I don't.
So we got Texans, Jets, Pats.
You're definitely not using them against the Pats. And then I don't know. The Texans have been a decent offense this year to be able to put up points, and so I don't know, I don't know what kind of game that's going to be, and so I think you could if you had to. They're not, but it's not something like I'm like, oh yeah, I'm locking these guys in. I feel great about this.
Yeah, and I would also, you shouldn't have to pick up if there's a case where you have to pick them up and hold two, and one of these being Jags. I'm definitely not doing it. I'm definitely not going to be upset if I miss out on not having the Jags. Come back week 15, William. Excuse me, and let us know what your options are in terms of waivers. Definitely don't hold both. If you're holding the Jags and another defense, don't do that through the playoffs to get you there. Come back and let us know what your options are as we head into the playoffs. AO, Monty or Barkley over Najee?
No.
Yeah, can't do it. Another Barkley question here. This one from the Flappy Chappy. Saquon or your boy Gaskin, Kev?
It's so tough because I like Myles Gaskin so much this week, but I'm still going Saquon.
Yeah,
I actually think I saw some people talking about if Mike Glennon is a quarterback. I once again think that Mike Glennon as a quarterback would be better for Saquon. And the reason I say that is because I think that he would see a far more checkdowns from Mike Glennon than you're going to get from Daniel Jones. Has the ability to run and will, get design runs and not look to check down to Saquon as much. And I think that if you had Glennon back there, you're going to see a lot more of that. And so that's kind of the same thought process with Gardner Minshew starting, where I think you see more of the ability to
YOLO.
And that's not going to be there. And so, once you take out the running quarterback, that's the only problem with the running quarterback. Running quarterbacks, no matter who they are, affect the rest of the offense negatively, because obviously if they're taking off and running, those are opportunities for the pass catchers to get opportunities. And so Jalen Hurts being one that will run 8, 10, 12 times a game. Those are all just opportunities missed that you could possibly look to pass. And so it does hurt the pass catcher. So anytime you can get a non-mobile quarterback, it just provides a boost to the rest of the options at times.
Yeah, then you add in the fact that Shepard and Tony are doubtful for that game as well. So that should help out Saquon even further. Brew Crew over on Twitch. Renfro, Monty, or Miles in the flex in a half PPR. Kev, you talked about Hunter Renfro in the wide receiver show this week. Do you like him over either of these running backs?
Half point PPR makes it a little different, but I'm gonna go Hunter Renfro.
And I'm gonna keep rocking with Miles. I like Renfro as well, but like you said, if this were full PPR, I'd be going Renfro. But with half PPR, the matchup for Miles, then either a potentially limited Hurts or a Minshew. I like Miles in that matchup. First tight end question of the night coming from C. Crip. Fant or Conklin?
I guess I would probably go Fant. Yeah, I'd go Fant.
Yeah, I think it sets up as a favorable Fant week.
I will say, though, Foster Moreau is a pretty interesting pickup for people if people are looking for a tight end for this week. I think he is 100% in play this week. And I would play him over Conklin for sure.
Yeah, me as well. Aiden, I think you and Brew Crew were, I'm going to assume that's the same. Everything kind of looks like it's typed out the same, but that is, Renfro for Kev and Sanders for myself. Bambo. If Henderson plays, do I keep Sony in or start Latavius or Alex Collins? I'm rolling Sony here. Regardless.
Yeah, I'd probably go. I'm not playing.
Can't do it.
I mean, I think you could go Latavius. I think it's between Latavius and Sony. I'm not playing Alex Collins. Alex Collins is a bum. So I guess I'd go Sony.
Yeah, I'm going Sony no matter what. So just going back to New Life's question, Eckler and Najee. What was it, Elijah or Javonte, I think?
Yeah.
So,
I will say I don't think Najee and Javonte are that far off this week in terms of like where they sit. But because Baltimore has been really good against running backs this year. That is one thing they have done a very good job of limiting running back production. But And I think last week was just a game where they just let it get away from them because it was weird in the second half that Najee Harris really didn't play all that much and he didn't get really that many opportunities in the second half. He wasn't really utilizing the passing game like we've seen in the past. I don't think that's going to be a trend moving forward. You got to play Najee.
Yeah. Debro. Set to start Kittle. Put Pitts in flex, Keenan Ayuk starting, or use Van Jefferson or Devonta Smith.
So if Odell misses, I'm playing Van Jefferson in your flex. That's what I would do.
So you're going Van Jefferson over Pitts if Odell's out.
Yes.
Okay. Good with that. GB on bye. Harris is my only RB2. Waiver ideas or just roll with it. Eckler at RB1.
It would depend on who's available. I think if there's anybody viable that would be available. I don't hate it. I just hate playing any of the Patriots running backs together. And it's now, I mean, you're getting a matchup against the Bills, which is less than ideal.
Yeah.
So I mean, it really would depend on what the other options are.
Nice. I like to hear it. It's Happy Valley Walito, a.k.a. the best university in all the land. It's the nickname for Penn State is what Happy Valley is.
Did you see why can't I think of his name now? The head coach just went to LSU. The former Notre Dame head coach.
Kelly.
Yeah, Brian Kelly. Did you see his? So he went to, I think it was a basketball game, the LSU basketball game, and he talked, I think, at halftime. Did you see that? You have to watch it. It's hilarious. He all of a sudden has a Southern accent out of nowhere. Like he's talking in the Southern accent to everybody. And it's like he's from like Boston or he's from like the Massachusetts area. He's nothing Southern whatsoever. He's been there a day, and all of a sudden he's starting to talk with like a Southern accent. Just getting absolutely annihilated on Twitter all day. It's hilarious to watch. You have to watch this. It's funny. He all of a sudden comes out and just has a Southern accent, and I was like, "What is going on right now?" Like,
Jesus. So weird why people feel the need to do that.
Yeah, like you're there to be a head coach. Like nobody cares about your dialect and how you speak.
DJ always coming through with the super chats. Appreciate you, man, rocking with us all season long. If Jacobs can't go, or Hopkins, who do I put in their spots? Full PPR, both flex. Beasley, Gage, Godare. Pick two.
I think he plays. I mean, Jacobs. I mean, I don't. I mean, he's gotten unlimited work. So, but if he doesn't, I would go. Probably Beasley and Gage.
That's where I was leaning as well. Derek, who are you starting at tight end? Yeah, that's where my gut went to at first as well. Was those first two. Antonio Lopez, Burrow or Wilson?
I'm going to go Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I think at this point you have to.
Which I'll probably end up regretting it. And I'm sure everybody's going to sit Russell Wilson coming off just how really poorly he's played. And then he's just going to go out and smash. Though I will say, I think at least for fantasy point purposes, he wasn't terrible last week. I think he had 2 touchdowns and like 260 passing yards. But yeah, I got to go Burrow here. I mean, this is one of the highest total games on the entire slate between the Chargers and the Bengals. So I think you got to go Burrow here.
Yeah. I know there's some, not necessarily concern, but there might be a little bit of some weather to watch out for. So just check the weather reports on Sunday morning to see. I think it should be okay as of now. I think it was just like some cooler weather. I think snow showers in the beginning of the game, and then it's going to get a little bit warmer, but then it's going to be like a cold rain for like the second half of the game. But obviously that can change. Just keep your eye on that. And where I look, if you just Google Roto Grinders NFL weather,
yes,
that's going to be your best resource. He lists everything out, tells you exactly what's going on. So that's where I always look whenever it comes to anything weather related. Anthony, let us know who your other tight end is, and then we can help you out from there. I don't mind dropping probably Tony for Freiermuth, but let us know who your other tight end is. ET coming through. Need help on a couple items here. Is Chase still a playable option to flex against the Chargers, or stream Javonte, Clyde, or Lockett instead?
Yeah, I mean, I think that he is. I mean, he's still solid. Let me see something. I think. I mean, yeah. I mean, he's still. I mean, a strong option.
You going Javonte over him?
I don't know if I can. I can't sit. I don't think I can sit Jamar Chase and his upside. I'm not sitting Jamar Chase.
I think Javonte's safer.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you want to go Javonte, I think you could. You're not gonna. You don't have to pull my arm to talk me into playing Javonte. I can tell you that.
Eric, I think if you just need points, I'm going Javonte. If you need upside, I would go Chase, because I feel like he's due for a big game here coming up. But I definitely do think Javonte is a safer play there. Bills or Pats defense, same matchup. Which side do you like?
The Bills.
Are the Dolphins available, Eric?
Yeah.
I think I'd rather play the Dolphins than either of those. And then last one, Knox or Hawk?
I'm going Knox here.
Yeah, I really like this spot for Knox as well. Aiden's lineup, 8-man league: Jefferson, Waddle, Najee, Javonte. Okay. I like it. Did we miss? I don't think we missed anything from Eric. Okay. That's why Chase would be at the flex, because of Tyreek and Keenan.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, Jamar Chase hasn't been as good as he was earlier in the year. Really, I mean, he's been like he has the 13.1, 8.9, 13, and 6.9. The air yards are still there on most weeks. I mean, outside of last week, but they didn't really have to open the offense. They didn't have to do shit in that game. They just absolutely crushed the Steelers. So they didn't have to open up the box. They didn't have to throw. And so that's why we kind of saw Jamar, not really have as big of a game. Even the week prior, he still only had 13, but he had 6 targets, 3 receptions, 32 yards, and a score. He hasn't had like a big blow up game since that week 7 game against the Baltimore Ravens, where he went 8 for 201 and a score. So he is a little bit more volatile than what he was earlier in the year. But like I said, so one good news. So something I want to point out, because I know people are going to be talking about this, especially with in regards to weather. The thing that matters the most with weather is wind. And this game, this Cincinnati and Charger game, in terms of wind, is only 6 miles an hour, which is nothing. And so the rain doesn't really concern me all that much. And as of right now, there's only like a 36% to 40% chance of rain for that game. So I'm not all that concerned. Whenever we get to like really high winds, that is when anything over like 15 to 20 mile an hour winds. People have actually done studies on this. How when does wind affect games, and it really gets to that point, right? And I will say this Patriots Bills game is looking like that. The wind for that game is 28 to 35 miles an hour. That makes you not want to play the pass. I'm telling the pass catchers and the quarterbacks, nothing outside of the running backs in that game, because 30-mile-an-hour wind will absolutely wreck a passing game. And so if that continues, and that's still what we're looking at come closer to, that game's Monday, and it's looking like that kind of weather, because it's supposed to be 70% chance of participation, could be snow and 30-mile-an-hour winds. I would not be about that life. I would seriously lower my expectations on Josh Allen if we're still looking at that. Because it is a dramatic drop off once you get over 20 miles an hour wind of what you see from I think it was like there's never been a quarterback that scored a QB1 week with over like 25 mile an hour winds. And so it just massively negatively affects the passing game. And so if I have Josh Allen, the only saving grace with him is his ability to run, but it still would severely lower his upside. And so if we're still looking at this kind of weather, come Sunday afternoon, it's still looking like this, I would seriously consider pivoting off Josh Allen.
Yeah. Brandon Bolden week incoming. Rock out coming through with the super chat. 2 flex here. Judy, Bateman, Kirk, Breida, or OBJ if OBJ plays, and if Rock out gets OBJ.
I mean, if OBJ plays, then I'm playing him for sure. If he does not, then I would go Kirk and Jerry Jeudy.
I would go Judy and Bateman, unless you get OBJ and OBJ plays. But I don't mind Kirk as a play this week either. But I just lean Bateman just slightly. So Ertz as the tight end for Derek. Do we want to sit Ertz for Goddard?
No.
You rocking with Ertz?
Let's see. I'd probably go Goddard.
Okay. That's where I was leaning as well. So that's what I would do, Derek. I would just put Goddard in and then roll with the other 2 guys in the flex. All right, where are we at here?
No, at that point I would probably play DeAndre Hopkins.
I think I'm going Hollywood, even if D-Hop does play, because of everything you were saying earlier, Kev. With even whenever he was healthy and playing, he was not seeing the target share. Doesn't really set up as a game where they're going to have to throw it all over the place, especially if they're so on D-Hop. They kind of want to ease him into action. I think that could be a spot where they do this. So I think I'm going to go Hollywood over D-Hop regardless. Anthony, Boss Man Fat, Hawk or Logan Thomas in the PPR. I'm going to go Hawkinson there. Uzi, what's going on? We have the Aquaman rocking with us. Tua or Russ?
I'm going to go with Russ. It is close. I do like Tua this week. I do. But I slightly lean more towards Russ. Right now, I have Russ at QB 14, and I have Tua at 15. So it is really close between the two of them.
Yeah. My God. This is one of those ones where it's closer than it should be. But I'm going to go Russ as well. But like I don't love it. I don't feel fantastic about it, but I would also lean Russ. Patty Fry or Foster Moreau? I think you were talking about this earlier, Kev. And then we have Mark asking right after that, how do we feel about Foster Moreau this week and potentially next week? So Patty Fry or Foster Moreau, and then just your general thoughts on Moreau. And I'll be right back.
I would go with Patty Fry there, Aqua, on that one. I just slightly lean more towards him. Like I said, he has a great matchup. I don't mind Foster Moreau whatsoever. I mean, so if you look at him, he is somebody that he's obviously not Darren Waller, but we did see earlier in the year where he played 89% of the snaps. And now it is a small sample size, but was targeted 6 times, 6 catches, 60 yards, and a score in that game for 18 fantasy points there in the one shot that he got to start. And so I do think that he does make some sense here against, because who else really they're going to throw the ball to? I mean, they have no want to throw the ball to Bryan Edwards. And so I think that he is going to be a viable, to me, he's like a low end RB1, tight end 1, I think, while Darren Waller is out, just because there's really nobody else to throw the ball to. And I think it also hurts them even more if we end up seeing, somebody like Josh Jacobs out as well. But regardless, it's kind of a narrow distribution of targets of where they're going to go. And I think Foster Moreau probably sees 6 to 8 targets, somewhere right there. You could safely project him for that in this matchup against Washington. We obviously know you beat Washington through the air. And so it's a good matchup, actually, for the Raiders passing game. And so that's why I like Hunter Renfrow. And I also, I think Foster Moreau just makes some sense. So I do think for the next couple of weeks, because next week they play Kansas City as well. And Kansas City has been a team that's been susceptible to the pass. They allow the 8th most fantasy points to tight ends on the season. Kansas City does in a game that they're going to have to be throwing the ball as well in that game. So I think for the next 2 weeks, if he is the guy, Foster Moreau does make some sense here.
Tam needs a wide receiver and a flex and a half PPR. Van Jeff, Pittman, Cooks, D. Will, or Jude?
So I'm going to go with Pittman, and then I'm going to go with Brandon Cooks.
If Cooks sits,
then you're going. So this is going to be one of those. So this is how I play it. Because I don't know if Odell is going to play or not. If Odell doesn't play, then it would be Van Jefferson, and it's not close. If Odell plays, then I would probably pivot to Jerry Jeudy.
Okay. So Pittman for sure. Cooks if he plays. Jeudy as long as Odell is out. If Odell is out, Van Jeff. So basically the only one we're not going with is D. Will. Hope that cleared that up for you, Tam. Appreciate you rocking with us. Mets, what 3 running backs this week? Mixon, Saquon, Mitchell, Javonte.
This is a good problem to have.
This is a great problem to have.
So Mixon for sure.
Yeah. Mitchell for sure for me.
And I don't think it's crazy to consider Javonte over Saquon. Listen, Saquon, if we're being real, Saquon hasn't. He had he before he got hurt, he had those 2 really big games, right, where he was targeted a ton, found the end zone in both of those, but since then, since he's been back, we haven't been seeing that either. Now, excuse me, with Daniel Jones ruled out, and looking like it's probably going to be Mike Glennon. Like I said, I think he's going to see a ton of targets. So it becomes really tough to sit him. Now, I will say, though, Miami's defense has been a lot better, especially over the past month, which is obviously something we could say the same thing about the Chiefs' defense. It is good news as well that the Broncos are getting Garrett Bowles back, I believe, as well. They're starting left tackle, which is one of the best left tackles in all of football as well. So it is actually really close for me between Javonte and Saquon. Yeah. I slightly lean towards Saquon, but because I think that I know 100% Saquon is going to see 80% of the backfield touches. Like, it's what we saw last week against Philly, where he played 82% of the snaps.
And much less target competition as well.
Yes. And so I don't necessarily know how this is going to work out for Javonte. And who the fuck knows with Vic Fangio? I mean, do they all of a sudden decide to get Mike Boone involved and Javonte doesn't see this massive? I mean, it's possible. So it's very, very close. If you want to go Javonte just because his upsides, maybe you view it as higher, then I don't mind that whatsoever. But I just slightly prefer Saquon.
Yeah, it's going to be the first 3 for me as well. Matt, speaking of Saquon, Ivan pulled off a nice little trade here. Saquon for Gaskin and Mooney.
I mean, I think he won, but I mean, I don't know. Myles Gaskin has been playing so well, and so is Darnell Mooney. I
like it, Ivan.
I don't mind it.
Because these are Gaskin and Mooney are probably bench guys for you who you were like rotating through like your flex spot, like RB2, wide receiver 3 kind of spot. You know what I mean? So I don't mind packaging up, bench assets and depth assets to make a push. Assuming that's what it was. You know what I mean?
No, and I mean, I think Saquon is a great, so you could buy just because he has very little name value, right, to be able to acquire. But it's just been tough because the rest of the team has just been so bad.
Ron always coming through with the clever jabs.
Uzi.
Doyle or Moreau?
Uzi with a big takedown last night on DK. Or I don't know if it was on DK. It might have been on, I think it was on FanDuel. But on DFS last night in the NBA, had a big old hit. Big hit. 30K hit.
Uzi.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Dropped it into the DFS chat while we were live. So that was that's good to see. Good for him.
Hell yeah.
Hopefully the wife let you sleep in the bed last night, for being up too late. But I would go with I'll go Foster Moreau here. I think it is actually. And it's not really close, I should say. It's Foster Moreau, but I will say Jack Doyle has been trending in the right direction.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm also going to go Moreau in what should be a matchup in a spot where the Raiders might have to throw a little bit more. Can Reynolds be a wide receiver 2/3 the rest of the way? I don't know about the wide receiver 2. I think he's more on the wide receiver 4 landscape. He's not going to be somebody who you're ever going to feel great about plugging in, but I mean, he's already coming in, 2 weeks in that offense and already showing the rapport with Goff right off the bat, obviously with, spending time together in LA as well. So, I mean, I don't hate it, but I would definitely not. I personally wouldn't be able to put him up in that wide receiver 2-3 range. He'd be more like the wide receiver 4 flex kind of territory.
I mean, I think he could be kind of like a low end wide receiver 3, but you're right. I think he's more of a lock for the wide receiver 4 type range, just because the offense isn't great. And but I do think that he is probably going to see quite a bit of targets here. And like you already mentioned, he has that built-in rapport.
Yeah, I like Reynolds as a deeper play this week. I mentioned him in the sleepers video. But again, I just wouldn't be able to put him up in that range with how many good wide receivers we do have here for the fantasy landscape. Another defensive question: New England or Eagles? Eagles.
Yeah, I definitely go in Eagles.
Yeah. Kev, to your boys here, Gaskin, Pittman.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Myles Gaskin here. Great spot. The Giants' run D is really bad, and Myles Gaskin has quietly been the guy. I mean, really, as since Malcolm Brown went down, it has correlated to him seeing all the touches. He's also the pass catching running back. He's seeing the red zone. He's seeing the goal line touches. So yeah, I'm going Myles Gaskin. Now, of course, he'll probably let me down, but
yeah. Stafford or Cousins for CB. This one's going to be Stafford for me.
Yeah.
Stevenson or Michelle.
Oh, gross. I apologize. I should have said that, but I just don't. I would probably go with Ramondre Stevenson here. I mean, unless, let me rephrase that. As long as Darrell Henderson plays. If Henderson is out, then it's 100% Michelle. But if Henderson plays, I'm going to go Ramondre Stevenson.
Anderson has Debo, Davonte Adams, McKissick, Deonta Foreman, James Robinson all out. Any gems for this week? I think James Robinson should be okay. I think he's questionable. Unless I missed something.
No, I mean, the last update I see is that he practiced in a limited. He got in a limited practice today.
Okay.
It's listed as questionable.
That's been the case with J-Rob the past couple weeks.
Which, I mean, you never know with Urban. I mean, anytime he can get one of those Ohio State players in there to carry the rock, he's got to do it. So, but yeah, I don't know about that. I mean, I think there's a possibility that James Robinson does play, but the rest of them, yes, you're out. I mean, so I guess you would look to see if Carlos Hyde's available. Not that I love it, but he's got to see the work, and he's got to probably see some of the opportunities here in this backfield. But again, wouldn't love it, but you're going to be kind of desperate, especially with as many players you're missing here.
Russell Gage.
I think Russell Gage. We mentioned Josh Reynolds. I think he would be somebody that you could look to at the wide receiver position.
I mean, as far as running backs, it's tough. I like Brandon Bolden, but I would rather play Gage over Bolden because you just never know with those with the New England backfield what they end up doing.
Oh, Matt Breida would definitely be one. Not a lot of people are seeming to jump on him, even though he has produced the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, good call on Breida.
And especially if we're going to get this nasty weather with a bunch of wind and everything, like Matt Breida is going to be involved a lot more than what he's been, even more so than that. And so, New England has struggled to stop opposing running backs this year. And so I do think Matt Breida would definitely be an interesting option there in that one. I don't know. I mean, past that, that's kind of what comes to me off the top of my head in terms of some of the running backs you could go to. Maybe if Kenny Gainwell is sitting out there, he would be a possibility as an option. I could see them utilizing him a little bit more, especially if Boston Scott is out. Yes. Kenyon Drake could be an option if Josh Jacobs were to miss this week. Against the Washington football team, but who knows with that? I mean, would they go back to Peyton Barber? I don't fucking know, because we saw that before, right? Everyone thought, oh, Josh Jacobs is out, Kenyon Drake's going to see all the opportunity. No, he fucking didn't. No, he didn't. Peyton Barber did, and so that's probably where I would probably come in on those options, at least at running back. And then wide receiver, I think we already hit like Russell Gage for sure.
Yeah.
And then,
Josh Reynolds,
which we already mentioned. Darius Slayton would definitely be another one.
I don't know what his roster percentage is. I feel like he's probably been dropped by a bunch of teams, but Tyler Boyd, not necessarily a gem, but like I said, I'm not entirely sure what his roster percentage is, but I think this could be a little bit more of a Tyler Boyd type of week with the strength in that Chargers secondary residing on their outside corners. Yeah, let us know if that gave you enough names there, Anderson, and we can try and help you out a little bit more if that did not. Okay. Should I drop Sutton or Tony for Patty Fry? Andrews, the other tight end for Anthony. No, I would never be able to get to myself to a point where I was starting Patty Fry over Andrews. It would probably depend on what the rest of your roster looks like, but I'm going to assume that you have some better options to plug in a flex over a tight end. So, like I said, I don't mind dropping either of those guys for Patty Fry, but probably not going to make it into that lineup all that often. Amar, Jamal Williams, Miles Sanders, T. Higgins. We need 2.
I would go Miles Sanders and T. Higgins.
I'm going to go Sanders and Jamal.
I don't hate that either.
Just for the safety. And again, Amar, this could be one of those situations where if you need a little bit more upside, some more boom bust, I would go Sanders and Higgins, but I think Jamal Williams is going to be a little bit of a safer option. And we haven't seen it often, but we have seen them, when they need to give some extra targets to Jamal Williams. I mentioned it in the RB video. I think week 1, he saw 9 targets. Last week, he saw 5. Obviously, no DeAndre Swift. So I would go Jamal and Miles, but if you need that upside, I would go Miles and T. Higgins. Ali joining us again. Which 2 do I start? Hopkins, Terry, or Chase in a PPR?
I'm going to go Terry and Chase on this one.
Yep, Terry and Chase for me as well. Dolphins unavailable, but the Vikings are.
I don't mind that because the Vikings are like top 5 in adjusted sack rate on the season. They've actually been really good against getting pressure on the quarterback just because of all the unique packages that Mike Zimmer puts together. And so they're able to usually get pressure on the quarterback. And so I don't actually mind going with the Vikings here.
What about the Chiefs?
I think they're definitely viable. It's a home matchup, primetime game. Like I've said, we've seen the Chiefs defense really turn it around. And we've seen Teddy Bridgewater at times make some really dumb decisions with the football. And so I don't mind it. I definitely think they are definitely in play for sure. I would look at them as kind of a top 12 option this week.
Abraham rocking with us. Kyler or Lamar? I'm going to go Lamar there. Abraham.
Yeah.
B flat, soul sacks. Lockett or Smitty?
I'm going to go Lockett.
Yeah, Lockett's probably the pick. It's just makes my tummy hurt a little bit, but I think Lockett is the call. Anderson wanted to know, should I pick up Burkhead and Bolden for this week? Obviously, with all of the injuries, Burkhead is no, I can't fuck with Burkhead. Not in that matchup. Even if David Johnson is out, I can't fuck with Burkhead in that matchup. Not on that offense. Bolden, like I said, I do like Anderson if you want to pick up Bolden. I'd rather play Bolden over Burkhead, but is Matt Breida available? I'd rather have Breida over all those guys. Dustin, I am maxed out on leagues, but I do appreciate the offer, but I'm maxed out on leagues. Unfortunately, I've become like with all of this and job and wife and kid and everything, I have started to become like a bare minimum kind of owner, and I don't want to have that. I don't want to add another league where I'm doing that again.
But Dustin, you might be able to jump into our listener league next year if you're not already in our listener league. We do have a TFA listener league that is going on right now. That's you could jump in next year if you'd like to get down with the TFA crew.
And we will do another playoff challenge league this year. Again, we did it last year. We'll have the deets for everybody once we get closer to that time. But like an NFL playoff, not a fantasy playoff challenge, NFL playoff where we do lineups. That was fun last year. We gave away 2 or just the 1 jersey for that. But we gave away
I think we did. I don't remember. We gave away 3 jerseys at the end of last year. I think we only gave away 1 away for the
playoff.
Yeah.
Ali has another question here. Logan Thomas, Goddard, or Moreau? This is right down your alley, Kev. You've been on the up and up with the tight ends. Who do you like here?
I'm gonna go Logan. Man, all 3 of these guys are like right there for me. So this is a tough decision. I can see why he's struggling with this one because all these guys are really close. I probably rank it Logan Thomas, Foster Moreau, Dallas Goedert. And the only reason Dallas Goedert's lower is because of just if Jalen Hurts plays. Like I said, it just kind of hurts their upside a little bit, and they run the ball so damn much. I think it could hurt Dallas Goedert. It hurts him a little bit. So yeah, that's the way I would look at it.
Flip a coin, Uzi. Take one of those 30K coins that you're swimming in right now, like Donald Duck, and just flip one of those bad boys. And
yeah, Uzi, I don't want to play either one of them if I don't have to. But like again, we kind of talked about the weather in this game. That I think that you're probably looking at it and saying, they're probably going to run the rock a fucking ton, and it's probably going to be a really gross, ugly game. And so it could end up being a game where it's 13-10 at the end, And so I don't really love either one of them, but you just hope one of them scores because neither one of them are really doing a whole lot to separate themselves, and they're pretty much just splitting touches, which makes it even worse because it's not even just like the Cowboys or the Broncos. Where they're like
not a
splitting
great
touches.
matchup on top of it.
Yeah, so Damien Harris found the end zone last week, but he still only played 35% of the snaps, and he only scored 12.2 fantasy points. Which is, if you get that, you're not mad about it, but it just really severely limits his ceiling. He doesn't really have one, unless Ramondre Stevenson fumbles or something crazy and they bench him. But Stevenson also played 32% of the snaps, also saw 9 carries. Damien Harris saw 11 carries. He just didn't find the end zone, which is why he didn't. And he scored 4.6. Like, that's kind of what he's been. The week before, he played 27% of the snaps. Damien Harris played, that was like 40% of the snaps. Neither one of them found the end zone. So neither one of them were a viable option. It's just they're just killing each other because it's not even that, because we also have Brandon Bolden involved, who's getting pass catcher. So you have 3 running backs trying to split this out backfield. I don't want any. I really don't, unless I absolutely don't have a choice. I don't want to play either one of them. But since this is all you have, I guess I would go Damien Harris.
All that said, Damien Harris. Emilio, who do I flex? Barkley, Higgins, Clyde, Gaskin, or TMC?
Jeez. You have all these options to flex?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go Barkley.
I'm gonna go Barkley as well. And again, this is another one of those where it's way closer than what it should be. But Barkley for me as well. Monty or Reynolds for Mark?
I'm gonna go David Montgomery here.
Montgomery here for me as well. Like I said, I do like Reynolds, but more as a dart throw deep kind of play. Monty, even without having the pass catching upside, we know that he's still locked in for 15 carries. So that's super valuable. Would you drop Antonio Brown for Darius Slayton? William, do you need to start Slayton? If this is just like someone to like have stashed, I wouldn't. I would still rather have Antonio Brown in the, for my playoffs. But obviously, if you need somebody to start and you have to do something like this, you could. But if this is just a bench stash, I'd rather have AB. Uzi needs a flex start. Can ASB or Reynolds get to 12 to 15 this week? I mean, I think Reynolds is your clear-cut one. If you need that, he's their big play guy. As much as that pains me to say, for as much as Amon-Ra St. Brown guy I was this offseason, but could he? Sure, maybe, but I wouldn't feel great about it. Is like I'd feel better about Russell Gage if Russell Gage is out there to go pick him up and spot start him if you can get him, Uzi. Patty Fry or Goddard? A lot of Patty Fry Goddard questions tonight.
Patty Fry. And I'm going Antonio Gibson. Like I said, I love Jalen Waddle. But I am not sitting Antonio Gibson in this matchup against the Raiders with no J.D. McKissick. J.D. McKissick's been ruled out. He is going to see all the touches. Yes, probably Jarrett Patterson's probably going to mix in and get some touches. Yes. That is but Antonio Gibson is a top 6 or 7 running back this week. I am not sitting Antonio Gibson.
Hey, in case you didn't see the news, Wendell Smallwood is going to be playing the McKissick role.
Oh, well, if that's the case. Good for him, though, for still being in the league. Good for him.
I had no idea he was on that squad. But yeah, I love Gibson. What's Gibson's price on DK?
5,700.
Jesus.
There's a lot of really good running backs in the 5K range this week. Him, Myles Gaskin's in the 5K range.
Yeah, Gibson's only like 6'1" or something like that on FanDuel. He's super cheap on FanDuel. That's why I was curious, because he's pretty cheap on FanDuel as well. Miles Sanders is in another good spot on FanDuel as well.
But he's Miles Sanders is 5,200 on DK. You have Jamal Williams, who's 5,400. James Conner, who I absolutely love as well. He's at 5,900. You have Gaskin 58, Gibson at 57. David Montgomery's at 56. I mean, yeah, Elijah Mitchell's only 6K, which is too cheap. But yeah, a ton of running backs there.
If Dave Johnson is out, Burkhead, Tevin Coleman, Patty Fry. Ugh. Uzi. Buddy.
I guess you go Patty Fry. And listen, here's the deal, Uzi. One, if these are flex spots, I mean, we can start wide receivers. This is where I'm starting wide receivers. I'm not, like, if you had to go Burkhead, I guess you could. If David Johnson's out, he's probably going to see some pass catching work. Like, I guess he would be the guy because I'm starting. I have no problem playing Fry. I'm not playing Tevin Coleman. No thanks.
Yeah.
No way. No how. And I would drop Tevin Coleman because Tevin Coleman has no ceiling, and there's never a scenario where if I'm playing Tevin Coleman, if you get to the point where you have to play Tevin Coleman, you're probably done, and you're going to lose that week anyways. So, I mean, if that's really where the point you're at, I would just pick up a wide receiver. There's got to be wide receivers that have a better shot than him.
Yeah, Uzi, let us know what those wide receivers look like in your flex spot. So you're talking about that weather in the Bills game. Would you go Folk as the kicker? I would not with that weather.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean the weather report out of that game, like I already mentioned, but so right now, the Roto Grinder is what we're talking about. The place, his name is Kevin Roth, and he's actually he's an actual meteorologist that they have that goes through and does the weather for all the games. And right now, he says this is the ugliest spot of the week. Minnesota, or the Monday Night Football, looks like wet, windy, cold. I'm expecting snow showers, at least 20-mile-an-hour sustained winds, and temps below freezing. Yeah, it's going to be a gross, ugly game. Like I've said, but with the kicker, I don't. This very well could be a kicker game where it's 16-9 at the end of this game. Like you just, so I don't mind playing the kickers as much, though, depending on if there's somebody available that's in like a better spot. Like we talk about Evan McPherson if he was sitting out there, somebody like that in a high scoring game. You may want to switch to that.
With the weather,
I would not.
So you're not playing a Pats defense?
No, because so the same thing I've kind of talked about. Like, so you're probably not going to see a whole lot of points, right? And you're going to see a lot of running. And I don't know. I guess you could because maybe they're a little bit safer. You're not worried about the score getting out of control or anything like that. But I don't think they're a great play either.
Yeah, CB, let us know who else you could potentially pick up. I thought I messed it up, Ron. As soon as I said it, I was like, I don't think I was right. Can I trust Buffalo D this week? If not, here we go. Got some options here. KC, Tampa, San Fran, Philly available.
Yeah, I think there's better options here. I would go Philly or Tampa. And but Philly would be my first choice.
Yeah, I'm going Philly there, Thomas. Taggy Carp, Manny or Chenault in a PPR?
Neither. I mean, the honest to God truth is, if I am not playing, I am not going to play a Bills wide receiver unless I absolutely am forced to. And yes, that includes Stephon Diggs. Again, this weather, there's not very often that I think weather matters. I think a lot of times it's over dramatized and maybe people think that it's a bigger deal than it is a lot. But in this scenario, when you're talking about sustained 20-mile-an-hour winds, which means
that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing too. Is that if it's gust, it's not as big of a deal, but it's the sustained winds. Yeah,
I just can't play any of these wide receivers, and especially Emmanuel Sanders. I'm not doing it. I think you could see Diggs and probably Cole Beasley see a little bit more short passes, and get him some opportunities. Maybe they score on the on the red zone or something like that. But this game just feels super gross. And so, but the problem is your other options aren't great either. One, Amir Abdullah, he's out because they're on bye. So that one doesn't even matter.
Well, I think that's a stash question.
Oh, I did not see the stash part. Okay.
So if you have to, it's obviously Chenault out of those two.
And if I'm stashing somebody, it probably actually is Amir Abdullah in a PPR format. Because I think it's very likely he's at the very least going to see pass catching work here. And it's not out of the range of possibility that he could actually take over the backfield from Chuba Hubbard.
Yeah.
I mean, Chuba Hubbard really did nothing when I hear he was really given the opportunity earlier in the year. It's not like we haven't seen this already play out. And he was starting to take over, get more and more involved in this offense prior to CMC returning. So I think it would be Amir Abdullah is who I'd want to stash.
Anthony McPhee. Can only start two. Hollywood, Evans, Monty. Who we said?
Mike Evans. And I'm going to go with Monty here.
You're sitting Hollywood?
I think so.
I think I'm going to sit Monty. I'm going to roll Hollywood and Evans.
The one question mark I have for the Bears, is the one way I could see Monty being more involved in the passing game is that they just don't fucking have anybody else. Because Marquis Goodwin, who had a big game prior to the Thanksgiving Day game, he got hurt. He's out. You go look at their depth chart right now. They have obviously Allen Robinson's not playing either. So right now they have Darnell Mooney and Demir Byrd and Jakeem Grant. Those are the three wide receivers. Only three wide receivers they show on their depth chart right now. I'm sure they'll call some people. They'll call people up from practice squad and stuff like that. But that's really all they got. So I think it's really possible that we maybe could see David Montgomery actually be utilized more as a pass catcher now. We'll see. But
yeah, I'm going Hollywood and Evans there. I like the spot that Hollywood is in. Rest of season, Gesicki or Logan Thomas?
I'm going to go Logan Thomas. It's tough. It's close. I think both of them are right there, but I think it's Logan Thomas when healthy.
Yeah, this is really close. Is Will Fuller ever coming back?
Well, and it's not even that, but you also have Devonte Parker, who is starting to sounds like he's back. He's going to be back here at any time. I believe they activated his practice window, or they activated him, so he's able to practice now. And I don't know if he's going to be active for this week, but he is definitely trending towards being back, and he could be back as soon as this week. It's still on the table. Which just hurts Gesicki even more. And there's really just nobody else there in Washington, really outside of Terry McLaurin. I mean, obviously the running backs, but Curtis Samuel, I guess, too. But I just think that Logan Thomas, especially in the red zone, big time red zone threat as well. I just slightly in there. This one is Devonte Freeman. Again, I'm not playing anybody. I am not, unless I absolutely am forced to, I'm not playing anybody in that Bills game if I don't have to.
Speaking of Devonte Parker, would you sit Waddle if Parker's back and replace him with Sony if Henderson's out?
No, so that doesn't matter for me for Waddle. It's Waddle's still going to get his no matter what. He has that's really strong connection with Tua, and I don't think that's going anywhere. They use him all over the place to get the ball in his hand. So I don't think it affects him as much as it would affect Gesicki. And so, yeah, Waddle's fine.
Now, what if Henderson is out?
I'm still going to go with Jalen Waddle.
Okay. The Newsy has a DFS question for you, Kev. Would you stack that Chargers-Bengals game, Herbert, Eckler, Allen, and run it back with Mixon?
So you go with the old mega stack. I don't think as many people are going to be on the game as they should be, because we have the Bucks that are on this slate, and some of the other there's a few other really good spots as well. So I actually love that going Herbert, Eckler, and Keenan Allen with the bring back of Mixon. Like I really like that stack.
I don't know what the running back prices are like on DK for those two, but on FanDuel, I think those two are like 2 of the 4, 2 of the 3 like most expensive ones. I think JT's at the top. I think Mixon is second, and then Eckler might be like fourth. I think third or fourth.
On DraftKings, Jonathan Taylor is 9,200, and there's a significant drop off to Austin Eckler at 83, and then Joe Mixon is 8,100. So,
okay.
But I think that's definitely a good spot there as well. So yeah, I love that stack. It's one of my top 3 favorite stacks of the week. I'm going with Tom Brady stack, and I'm going to go with probably a Raiders stack right now is what I'm looking at.
Okay, so back to CB was asking about the Pats defense. So Pats, Vikings, Chargers, Niners.
Pick up the Vikings.
I'm going to go Ayuk here. Flappy chap. Kev, who do you like, Ayuk or Cooks?
Same.
Rob Navarro, who should I drop between Tanny or Russ?
Tannehill.
Dropping Tanny. Ryan Evans, 2 flex league, either Bourne, Breida, Ertz, Sanders, full PPR. We need 1.
Wait.
Just need 1. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I saw the comment just below it. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I think for me, it comes down to Matt Breida or Zach Ertz in this one, and I think I'm gonna go with Matt Breida.
That's where I was leaning as well. The only thing that has me hesitant with that is obviously last week Zach Moss was a healthy scratch, but if this game is going to be that gross, like I can't imagine Zach Moss will be a healthy scratch again. You know what I mean? And if he's not, then that obviously lowers it significantly for Breida in this particular game script, weather, all of that stuff. Like I think Moss would be the guy they would ride, and it wouldn't be Singletary and Breida. I think I'm going to go Ertz there because of that, Ryan. Kind of talked myself into that. Man, I wish we would be able to know. Like I said, I can't imagine Zach Moss is going to be a healthy scratch, considering what we know now, or what we think we're going to know about that game. I'm gonna go Ertz there. Close between the two, but I'm gonna go Ertz. Last one here from Alexis. Someone just dropped Logan Thomas in my league. Do I go Thomas over Moreau?
You have Darren Waller, right, Alexis? If I remember correctly, I remember on the team. They have Darren
I think
Waller.
So.
I would still probably go Logan Thomas. Yeah, they have, okay. Yeah, that's what I thought. Darren Waller.
Yeah.
I'd probably go Logan Thomas. So I think both of the, like I said, like I think, I just think he has a little bit higher ceiling than Foster. I do like Foster Moreau. Speaking of DFS, he's going to be extremely highly owned. He's like at $2,700 on DraftKings. So
Jesus, how?
Well, I mean, I don't think
Was that the late? Was that the late game?
No, that was Thursday. Remember?
No, I don't. But
that was the Thanksgiving game.
Oh yeah. Okay, Rico. We hope so.
Let's go. I don't know about everybody else, but everybody in here that owns Javonte, we have held on for this entire season with Javonte and had to watch sorry ass Melvin Gordon get all these opportunities and
all the touchdowns.
And split touches with Javonte, which we all know that Javonte is the best running back on that roster, and it's probably not even close at this point. But yet Melvin Gordon continues to get opportunities, and now we've all waited patiently. And now it's his time. Like I actually was at work when I finally saw the news that Melvin Gordon was out, and I went outside and I felt like what's that movie with Will Smith where he's trying to get the job and him and his kid.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Pursuit of Happiness. Remember when he goes outside after he finds out he gets the job and he goes out there and he's like, and he's all excited and everything else. And, that's how I was. I walked outside of work and I was like, let's go. Let's go. It is Javonte week. People are just looking at me like, what are you doing? Like, don't you fucking worry about it. All right. You don't get it. And I'm a Chiefs fan too, by the way. Like, and I'm excited for Javonte to, and we get to watch him on Sunday Night Football. The national audience gets to see him. And I really am curious what they're going to do if he goes off in this game. Like if he goes off and rushes for like 170 yards and 2 touchdowns, like can you put 70. That? Yeah. I mean, but can you put that back in the box? Are you going to be able to bring Melvin back and be like, okay, Javonte, you're back to 50-50 touch share? Like, I don't know. So this is his shot. I think, to take over, and really.
I hope so. Like I said, that was my one hesitancy when we kicked off the show. Was just like, I'm happy we have Javonte week, but god damn it, why couldn't it have been against like the Jets? Like I just want to see him just like go off because that KC defense has turned it around. With your D line being healthy now, that's obviously been or all your starters being in there. That's obviously helped KC, but. Yeah,
this is a really weird week just for running backs because we have so many like even we're pretty much caught up on the questions, so for the most part. But I will say this, just looking at the players that we're talking about every single week, there are so many players that I never would have expected that we would be talking about at this point of the season, but this is what's great about fantasy football is that this stuff happens. I mean, like I've said, Cordell Patterson, I never would have thought that he would become a thing, or as much as he was, he's had opportunities in the past, he started for a little short period of time in New England and, at other spots. So but I just guys like him and there's been so many different players that we've had to deal with this year. It's been a really interesting year. We've only got, I love fantasy football. And then when we do the content part of it, we always talk about people that don't do this, once you start wrapping down the season, there's a party that's okay, cool. You get a break and everything else. But at the same time, after the first week of football is over, I'm ready for it to come back. And I miss it already. Yeah. So I'm still trying. I just want to enjoy this last part of the season. But this year just feels so wild to me with all the things that have happened. I mean, it really has been kind of a decent year to go 0 RB. People won't admit that, especially the people that are truly anti 0 RB. But it really has been a really solid year to go 0 RB. Not to say that there hasn't been any wide receivers that have gotten hurt or have disappointed, because there has been some. But I feel the list is much smaller compared to the amount of running backs. The top 12 running backs right now, that were drafted, almost all of them have been hurt. Not named Jonathan Taylor for some portion of time. I don't think Najee was he top 12? He was borderline if he was. So he would be the other guy, I guess. That was close.
Yeah.
But I mean the top 5. I mean, you look at the top 5, it's been wrecked. Right?
I also feel like there's been no, like every year, like normally there's like a spot in the draft, like, oh man, if you had that spot, like you're like pretty okay. Like I feel like everything has just been like fucked this year. Like there's like, you know what I mean? Like we really like sitting at the back end, like depending on who you went at the turn, like that could have been fucked as well. Yeah. Oh, Austin Eckler would have been another top 12 RB who hasn't been hurt.
Yeah, he's been good. He's been. I
But
don't.
yeah,
think
like
Najee,
they're like I said, normally every year it's like, oh man, if you would got that fourth spot and Kamara fell into your lap and then you came back around with blah blah blah. Like there's not like that clear cut like part of the draft where like, oh okay, those drafters are doing well this year. But let's finish this off with Alexis keeping Logan Thomas after this week just in case Wallace stays out. Yes or no?
yeah, you can keep him.
Yeah, until you find out what happens with.
He's a good problem to have for sure.
And if you don't get Logan Alexis and you just have to, and like you have to get stuck with Moreau, I that's fine as well. Look at Ashton coming in. Hey, there was someone on this here podcast fantasy site who was pumping that Eckler train all year long.
So do you think it's crazy to say? Well, not crazy, but what do you think? Just really quickly, what do you think the top 10 running backs are looking like next year? Just because, like, or let me ask you this: do you think Christian McCaffrey, Saquon Barkley, Alvin Kamara are all going to be? I don't know if they're going to be drafted, where they're going to come. Because, like, Christian McCaffrey now 2 years in a row continues to get hurt. He's going to see the injury bump, right, that we always see, the injury decrease. So you're probably going to be able to get him a lot cheaper because I don't think people are going to be able to trust. Are you going to be able to trust him with 2 years in a row of really just killing you? Dalvin Cook continues to always be hurt. So you have him. Alvin Kamara is probably safe, depending on what they do at quarterback, right? I mean, they have so many. Derrick Henry's going to be another year older and coming off this foot injury. I don't know. I just think I think next year top 12 running backs is going to be really shooken up because I can already tell you for sure Javonte Williams, and I know some people like hear this and think that it's crazy, but he is going to be a top 12 running back next year, drafted like ADP for sure. Right? Like he's going to be his backfield. Nobody else is going to be there. We could be talking about them adding somebody like Peyton Manning, Aaron Rodgers. Peyton Manning would be a problem, but Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, all these quarterbacks will be available. They're definitely going to be adding a quarterback. They're not going to be rolling with Teddy. And so, I just think this top 12 running back is going to be so different next year. Mixon, Taylor, Eckler. I think Taylor is probably the 101 next year, especially with the way he's playing. Unless he collapses somehow down the stretch, which I just don't see how that happens. I think Eckler is probably in that conversation. Mixon finally is in that conversation. He should have been. He was somebody that we've been super high on. Najee could definitely be, especially if they upgrade at quarterback. They could be a team. I know Rodgers loves Mike Tomlin. So I don't know. I think it's going to be super. It's just going to be interesting next year.
Chubb will still be in there.
Chubb will be a part of that conversation, I think, as well. Aaron Jones, possibly. I don't know. He was already kind of 9th, 10th on the list anyway.
Yeah.
In terms of running backs that this year, and I could see him falling further, especially with AJ Dillon getting more involved. Antonio Gibson, for sure. I don't know. We could talk about this all night. This is I know, but I just think next year's top 12 is going to look vastly different than what it did this year. We're going to see a lot of shakeup.
For sure. All right. Since this for Ashton, we'll get out of here. Start to Ayuk, Shenault, Elijah Moore, or Christian Kirk. We're locking in Ayuk. Who do you like
Christian
second
Kirk.
Out of that? And Kirk?
Yeah, for me.
Yeah. Out of that group, I will go there with you as well. We appreciate all you guys. Please hit that subscribe button if you are not yet subscribed. You can always join the Discord if you have any questions. You can also just drop them here in the YouTube comments as well. and then we'll be live with you guys on Sunday morning again with any news that comes through, any other starts that you have, anything that changes with weather, anything like that. We'll be here on Sunday morning at 11 a.m. until 12:30 to get you ready for Week 13. Good luck this week, and we'll talk to all of you soon.